The decision facing Andy Burnham is effectively what kind of approach does he want to his government, but also what kind of relationship does he want with the Chancellor? Does he want a Chancellor who is more easy to control, in which case names like John Healey get floated, and potentially Shabana Mahmood, because that's not her brief, or Ed Miliband, who would be a Chancellor with a vision and a certain definite circuit breaker, as Andy Burnham has talked about, but who may not be very easy to control at all.
Now, politics here. Senior allies of Andy Burnham believe that they've won the battle to stop Ed Miliband getting the job of Chancellor. This is about concerns that he would become a lightning rod for criticism of the government. It set off what's been something of a back-and-forth briefing war at Westminster between Ed Miliband's allies and his, well, people who are not his allies. Anna Mikhailova is the Times radio political editor and joins us now on the line. Hi to you, Anna.
Hi, John.
Good to have you, Anna. So can you just get us up to speed with the latest shuffle whispers, including the reporting that some of those close to Andy Burnham think they managed to put a stop on Ed Miliband getting the Chancellor's job?
Absolutely. I mean, look, we've got a huge information vacuum where Team Burnham have said they won't announce any appointments until Monday, which has obviously created so much room for speculation, but also jostling behind the scenes with people trying to stop Ed as the campaign goes, and that's been ongoing for some time, and put forward their own candidate. And there's so much jostling. It's all quite public as well, because obviously all the MPs until a couple of hours ago were all here, and the sort of spectacle of power shifting has been so visual. Andy Burnham was up and about in the Commons in the morning, just getting swamped by people wanting to talk to him. Similarly, his main allies are off, huddling together, having meetings, going off to the office, his temporary office, and it's all done so visually. A veteran MP said you can just see how power shifts and how it's demonstrated. And of course, it is the chancellorship that everyone's talking about. So the latest, John, is Ed Miliband seems to be more likely to be appointed to another senior office of state. Some say foreign secretary, others say maybe a deputy prime minister role. And the front runner emerging is now Shabana Mahmood. Interestingly, she had a meeting with Andy Burnham, which was mostly focused on her brief of home affairs, but a little bit of that touched on the economy, and that has got a lot of people talking. And, you know, we know that she has had her allies, including the group of Red Wall MPs, making representations in her favour in recent days. And I mean, so much of Westminster is all about trying to guess not just who the cabinet jobs are going to be, but also just who's on the up in terms of having the ear of the Prime Minister in waiting.
Yes. I mean, look, I want to hear more about that now you mention it. But this is such a genuinely important moment, isn't it? Because obviously, as you say, the job of Chancellor is vitally important. But the question of who gets it, it's become a cherished cause among Labour left-wingers, soft left-wingers. And depending on who gets it, it's going to be seen as emblematic of the character of the Burnham government at its start.
Completely. Look, so in Ed Miliband, you have a candidate for Chancellor who has done serious work developing a plan for the economy. He has a lot of critics, but one thing you can definitely say about Ed Miliband is he has a strategy. He has a vision for reshaping the economy fundamentally, work that he has already started within his current brief at Energy, and which he wants to be able to continue. And that is up against the fact that all the other potential names, and Shabana Mahmood is included in that, are not candidates who have a big ready-made plan. And the decision facing Andy Burnham is effectively what kind of approach does he want to his government, but also what kind of relationship does he want with the Chancellor? Does he want a Chancellor who is more easy to control, in which case names like John Healey get floated, and potentially Shabana Mahmood, because that's not her brief, or Ed Miliband, who would be a Chancellor with a vision and a certain definite circuit breaker, as Andy Burnham has talked about, but who may not be very easy to control at all, and who would certainly have, as one MP just put it to me, too many enemies and would not be able to make a single mistake. There'd be so little tolerance for any missteps.
Yes.
And that's the political calculation going on.
I'd love to get your thoughts on Keir Starmer's last Prime Minister's questions. Anna, just what were your thoughts watching that show?
Well, listen, it's funny you call it a show. I mean, I was in the chamber. I've never actually witnessed anything like it, John, just in terms of, I mean, mostly the standing ovation at the end and the clapping, because as you will know as a veteran, that's not allowed. And it was mostly the number of newbie MPs who don't know that or don't want to know that who drove it. But it was quite something. And there were, I was sitting near his advisors, and so many of them were in tears from Keir Starmer's tribute to them. You know, I think in many ways we saw a much nicer side of Parliament, of politics. Kemi Badenoch has been praised by lots of people after that for striking the right tone. But of course, there's also the strange notion that he got so much praise and so much goodwill while having just been taken out of office.
Yeah, it was really something to watch, and also noteworthy that, not a great surprise, but noteworthy, Anna, to hear Keir Starmer emphasise that he's not going to be a backseat driver. He's not going to be sounding off. I mean, some of us can remember Edward Heath, who was, removed. Margaret Thatcher sat there, and he was behind her scowling year after year. He came to be known as the Incredible Sulk, and that is not what Starmer wants to be.
No, he made a point of saying this is the end of his political journey. My understanding is that, I mean, he has said he will remain an MP, and my understanding is he will go back to focusing on more sort of campaigns, supporting campaigners, the kind of thing that he talks quite a lot about in the chamber today, and the sort of work that he did both as a lawyer and then at the start of his political career in particular. So that wouldn't really be backseat driving, as you say. But just one thing to point out, John, on the cabinet, just going back to all the speculation, I have heard a very interesting theory from a few people now, including some people in the current government, that they think that Monday we're going to see quite a limited number of appointments, so mostly filling in spaces, with Chancellor being expected to be the biggest, but then lots of ministers being kept in place essentially for continuity, and then a reshuffle in the autumn, which politically the idea behind that would be to effectively, as this person said, keep everyone on their toes and also maintain maximum authority for Team Burnham, because no Prime Minister is ever more powerful than with a reshuffle pending. Yes,
that is so good to get your thoughts and your gossip, Anna. Thank you, Anna Mikhailova, our political editor at Times Radio.